Take a deep breath. Welcome, Tommy, to the Vulnerable Voices podcast with your host, me.
Amazing. Thank you for welcoming.
No, welcome. It's lovely to have you on. Thank you for taking the time to come and chat to me today. We're talking about sleep, aren't we?
Yes, we are, indeed.
I'm excited because my sleep, it needs a bit of improvement, so I'm hoping you can help. Yes.
Okay, well, if I knew it was a one-on-one session, I'd have charged you.
Get my checkbook out. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you?
Who am I? So I'm Tommy. I'm a sleep specialist. I teach people about the importance of sleep and how to do it well.
Why is sleep so important to you? Why have you got a focus around sleep and wanting to help people with their sleep?
Well, it depends how deep you want to go, how quickly. It's a very important thing to me. Over time, I have struggled with my sleep and I didn't understand the importance. And since understanding the importance, it's enabled me to live a happier, healthier, more successful life. So I've seen clear evidence of the value that it's brought into my lives and therefore done studies on it and seen how valuable it can be to other people as well. And yeah, the more I've learned, the more enthusiastic about it I've got. And as I've seen my knowledge go into other people's brains and change their lives, that gets me more and more excited about spreading the word. So yeah, that's where I'm at the moment.
What was sleep like when you were growing up? Because I remember my sleep, I was always awake at night. My brain just wouldn't shut down. And I would always have like these racing thoughts. I wouldn't know how to actually do the right things in preparation for sleep. What was sleep like for you growing up? What did it look like, maybe your family around you? What were their sleep patterns like that then you started taking on or mirroring?
Yeah, I can't think of anything specific that my family was doing that I mirrored. I think I came from a pretty standard household from a sleep perspective. I had a bedtime up until the age of early teens, and then even still it was suggested to go to bed at a certain time. If I was staying up too late, I remember my parents taking my phone off me to stop going on the Wi-Fi after a certain time. So yeah, they were responsible adults when it came to sleep and understood it was important and that I should be trying to do it. I remember my dad turning the Wi-Fi off at night and not knowing that I could actually just get data and use my data instead. But yeah, he was under the impression that I wasn't on my phone. Convenient little bugger. No. Other than that, yeah, I think both my parents enjoyed having a good time. So like there'd be New Year's Eve parties where we'd go until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning sort of thing. And that was the norm. So it wasn't necessarily, well, I suppose New Year's Eve's a little bit different, but late nights weren't something that I was shut away from. It was definitely part of our family culture and still is in ways.
I mean, I'm not going to lie, but the tip around turning the Wi-Fi off was such a clever idea. Yeah. But then the creative problem solving going, actually, there's another way around of actually keeping my brain alive and stimulated. In terms of times that you went to sleep, do you know roughly what times? Did you have a routine or was it up to you? I know sometimes men and women differ in terms of growing up. Growing up as a younger girl, it was around maybe school times were at 8, 9 o'clock. 7:30 is the one that comes to me, and it was still light outside at some points. Did you have like a timing you went to bed, or was it up to you at a certain point?
It varied through the years. The older I got, the later my bedtime got, the more episodes of whatever I could watch. So there was one time where I wasn't allowed to stay up for the late Coronation Street if there was a second half of it. Then it got to the age where I was responsible enough to stay up and watch that, which might take you till 9 o'clock. It varied on the ages that I was as to what time I was allowed to stay up to, really.
That's nice. How did lack of sleep affect the quality of your life and living and your functioning, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually? How did that impact you?
Yeah, in many ways. So for context, I suppose, for the fourth wall over here, I did really struggle with my sleep growing up, so it would often take me a few hours to get to sleep. And I didn't question it, really. It's all I ever knew. I remember sort of like calling for my mum a lot, like growing up, like, Mum, I can't get to sleep, can you sit with me and help me settle down, sort of thing. So that was normal for me. I did have struggles getting to sleep. stayed asleep okay because I was knackered by the time I went to sleep. But then had to be up early for school as well. 70% of school kids in the UK have been found to be sleep deprived.
70. It's a large proportion of...
Or sleeping less than what's recommended. So,
and then they're expected to do school and learn and socialise. You just don't have the energy for that,
well,
do
that's
you?
it. So back to your question about how did it impact me, it's like school, learn, socialise. So at school, like I'd fall asleep behind my books and sort of be a bit of a zombie through the day. I remember having quite a puffy face, and if you see like pictures of me, I just looked knackered. It meant that my concentration span wasn't as long, my focus, energy levels, like I wasn't excited to go and do PE as much as I would have been now, because I knew that I was going to find it harder work because I was knackered. Learning wise, for a long time I just thought that I couldn't read, and like that I wasn't a very good reader. But now, since learning more about sleep and getting better at it, my brain has miraculously started working and I can read pages and the information stays in my head, which is wicked. But it didn't growing up through school. Sometimes I look back and I think, if I was sleeping better, would I know general knowledge? Would I be better at a quiz? Would I be better at quizzing? Social wise, not that I was good at socialising growing up, and that's probably worked against me from a sleep perspective, because as I got older, the later the nights got and the more frequent those late nights got. But socially, I'd probably be more likely to feel a bit frustrated with things. So like my temper was shorter. Not that I was like an aggressive guy at all, but like now, like you'll struggle to rile me up. But yeah, probably more emotional from that perspective. Learning is the big thing for me.
So how many hours of sleep, if you can quantify it, do you feel you actually got in those school years?
School years, look, anywhere from 5 to 7.
Okay.
Anywhere from 5 to 7, but up until the age of like 17, you have to get, well, you don't have to get, but it's recommended to get 9 hours. Yeah. So yeah, I was always way below what I needed.
Did any of your teachers or friends around you notice the decline in like memory or wanting to engage in certain subjects like PE, for example, having the energy? Did anyone actually pause and go, or ask you, are you okay? Are you getting enough sleep? Or is it just like a thing that you dealt with on your own a lot?
It was just the norm. Like no one ever questioned it. I didn't really question it. I think it's quite normal for kids to be tired. And like
raging hormones, everything.
Yeah, that's it. So like as I said, like 70% of kids aren't getting as much sleep as they need.
Yeah.
So it's normal for someone to be in the corner yawning. In fact, to the opposite of, I remember my teachers telling me off for yawning. And like saying like, oh, am I boring you?
Same.
It's like, no, actually, I'm just chronically sleep deprived. I could probably do with a bit of a hand with that instead of you making it all about you.
I know people that said selfish.
Yeah, like, come on. So it was the opposite. It was like, come on, Gravesy. Like, sorry, sell out. Sorry, my teachers call me Gravesy.
I'll be calling that now.
Yeah, you can call me Gravesy if you want.
Nickname for life.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, no one knows. And I said, there wasn't necessarily a decline, right? Because I'd not been sleeping well for years.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, oh, Tommy's memory isn't as good. Tommy seems a little bit more tired. It's like, oh, it's just always sort of been that guy.
It's your default, basically.
Yeah, and it's not like I was like actually like people won't be looking back at memories and thinking, oh, Tommy was such a tired guy at school. But you get up in the morning, your body goes into survival mode and pumps you with a load of cortisol and adrenaline, and it gets you through the day. And if you're having exciting conversations with exciting people and whatever that might be, not that it was always exciting at school, but you get up and go and do whatever you can. But yeah, yeah, my brain definitely wasn't working to full capacity for the majority of school.
Yeah, adrenaline, the cortisol, they call it, don't they? That's the puffy face. That's sort of some of the telltale signs.
Oh, right, is it?
Yeah, so if you've got like puffy eyes, if your face looks a bit swollen, those are some of the like physical symptoms or signs in people that you might think, oh, they might have too much cortisol pumping through their body.
I didn't know that, so that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I'll have to show you some pictures of me when I was in my teens, even through uni. It's like, right, okay, it's a completely different bloke. Like yeah, I used to walk around and like very tight-eyed, just because of how puffy my cheeks were, like around my eyes. Yeah.
The first thing when you manage the cortisol levels and stress and getting better sleep, most likely people will say to you, you look like you've lost weight.
Really?
But actually it's cortisol. You're losing that stress hormone, which deflates you almost like a balloon, and then it starts like deflating because that you don't need to be in survival mode anymore. And it's so sad that actually the point that you've raised about us in school, the time when we're learning, we're supposed to have fun, you know, socializing and engaging in things that we're supposed to enjoy, actually becomes survival, like to get through each day of the week. How then did your life start changing as you got older, moved away from school, and the sleep around those sort of periods of your life?
Yeah, so as I touched on earlier about the older I got, the later the nights got and the more frequent those late nights got. That's what happened really. I was thinking about this the other day. There was times in my early teens where I would deliberately try to pull an all-nighter with friends because it was like, oh, let's pull an all-nighter, that's a cool thing to do, it's exciting, we'll have midnight snacks and we'll just see who can stay up the longest. So we were deliberately sleep depriving ourselves for fun on the weekend. That was like 12, 13 years old. And then as it got a little bit older through the teens, going out to parties and like going out drinking and whatever and having a good time, and it's like who could stay out the latest. And when you're young and it's all still so novel, it's like the longer that I stay awake, the more fun I can potentially have. That's amazing, I'm gonna carry on doing that. So it actually got to a point where nights out and weekend fun was so regular, like such a regular part of my routine, that if I didn't have something planned for the weekend that was of that sort, I would feel really uncomfortable. I'd be like, no, I need to ring people, I need to figure something, some sort of motive, some sort of active fun to go and have, which involves usually drinking and usually having a late night. So like I counted a 3-year streak of every weekend I would have something going on till silly o'clock in the morning usually. And
was that with the same circle of friends, or was it all different?
Anyone yeah, loads of different people, which was great because I was meeting a lot of people and having so much fun. I wouldn't take back those years. I was made for it a little bit better than I would be now.
Yeah.
But that meant that every weekend, without fail, I was breaking my circadian rhythm and breaking my sleep schedule, which would take days to get over. Your circadian rhythm, if you move it by 1 hour, that takes 1 day to recover from that. So if I was going and moving my bedtime by 5 hours, I wouldn't have recovered until 5 days later. And be working optimally until then, even though I wasn't going to be working optimally anyway with my sleep deprivation.
Yeah.
But yeah, a hell of an impact it can make just by going having one big send on the weekend. Rhymed. One big send on the weekend.
That'd be a new gift.
Putting any effort into them existing in my world. So how do I deal with people who push back when I say that I want to go home?
Yeah.
Now, most of the lads that I'm mates with at the start, would be like, oh, come on, not understanding that I'm actually being serious. This isn't just like, I'm going home because I'm a bit tired. I'm going home because X, Y, Z, 11, 12, 13, like so many different reasons. Those who continue to push back, if they're actually not listening at all and not being respectful, then it just gives me evidence of, oh, actually, they're probably not someone that I want to invest any time in anymore, and I'll therefore keep arm's distance and make sure that I'm not giving too much of my attention to that person, or worrying too much about what they think about me, or worrying too much about making sure that like they're happy and being a good friend, because that's not the type of person I want to be around. So it's a good way of figuring out who actually cares about you and you as a person, and who loves you as a human being instead of who loves being around you and your company and the way it makes them feel, instead of actually just caring about you inside. So it helps figure out who those people are so you can discard them. The other way that I deal with those situations is journaling. I found really handy at the start of not drinking. So I've not drank for over a year now. Yeah, and it's not been a trouble at all, because I didn't want to drink. The only reason that I was drinking because I felt it was a social obligation. The hardest bit about stopping drinking was explaining to people why I wasn't having a drink. So being able to really pin down how I explain that to people in a way they understand, without them thinking that I've ever had a problem with drink. So that's a worry. I don't want anyone to think, oh, Tommy's stopping drinking because he had a problem with drink. Never had a problem. Without them thinking that I think I'm better than them. I don't want anyone to think, oh, Tommy thinks he's better than us because he's not drinking anymore. And I don't want people to think I'm boring.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you explain it in a way that covers all three bases?
So let's try that actually, because there are really 3 key points, and you're like, oh well, yeah, I've been in those situations so many times. You're like, no, I'm not boring. I can actually have so much fun without it. 2, no, I don't have a problem, like you said. And okay, let's role play that, because it's quite interesting. But Tommy, how come you're not having a drink? Come join us.
I don't drink anymore, unfortunately. I just found that I really can't hack it. Like, it makes me feel so much worse than it makes me feel good. So I decided, I can still go out and have an amazing time, because I love spending time with you. I'd love to come and join you, but I'm probably going to call it a night early and get up tomorrow, but maybe we should do something then instead.
I love that. Yes, it's so powerful.
For me, it just gets into it gets as logical as cost-benefit analysis. I take it into like a business environment and be like, it absolutely crushes me the next day. It takes so much away from me. And the benefit isn't that much, because I can still have an amazing time otherwise. I give an example as well. So I cut down drinking a lot on the year leading up to me completely stopping. And there was a night where it cut down to the point where I'd go out and I had 2 or 3 pints. And I say, I go out and have these 2 or 3 pints. I wake up the next day and I still feel sluggish and a bit more anxious. And I didn't even feel drunk the night before. So what was the point of that if I don't get the benefits? Wake up the next day feeling worse. It doesn't make sense at all. It's only been a cost. And go and spend 20 quid. It's like, what's the point? So as soon as I give people that example, explain, look, the huge cost, 0 benefit. It's good. From the fun perspective, I think that happens over time, is you just have to show the group that you're still going to be good to be around, and make sure that you make an extra effort to do that sometime.
But those people know you, and not every situation where you're with them is going to be surrounded by alcohol or consumed alcohol, right? So they know you as a person, and they respect you as a whole person, going, Tommy's interesting, he's got loads of amazing things to share, he's got adventure, so he can share insights from there, he's a good laugh. Like all of those things don't have to involve alcohol, right? And I often find also culturally too, like, yes, I've grown up with alcohol, we have a drink socially, but there's, like you said, there's this underlying pressure that people must drink with you, instead of it being respected that actually they're a whole person without that, and you don't need to mask behind alcohol at all. And this is why we connect, because we had this really long phone conversation, didn't we?
Back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day. You helped me find a job, weren't you? And we started talking about creative things. And you touching on journaling as well is another form of creativity that I found really interesting about you. I found some of your creative ventures really interesting. And did we need alcohol? No.
Not at all.
So you're right, it's who you're around. And what were the responses to the response that you gave me? How did people respond to that?
Usually just fair enough. I've sort of pinned it down so much that it's like, what can you say if someone says they feel worse the next day, then it justifies them feeling? I don't even know. It's like by me saying, yeah, it costs me more than it benefits me. Yeah. Or how can you say that it's worthwhile if it's costing someone more than it benefits them? It doesn't make sense. That would be stupid to push back on. So yeah, and if people do push back on it, I'm like, what are you doing? You're a Wally, shut up.
Like, you're not my people. I'll stay over there.
That's fine. I'll just be like, whatever. What are you going to do tomorrow? What are you going to do with your day tomorrow?
That helps though filter out the people that you want around and
honestly,
don't, right?
Yeah, and there is a few people that I've sort of lost along the way, or I'm just not as pally with. not as close with. And what it's also been brilliant is by having these conversations and just being like backing myself on it, is sometimes I have people that say, oh mate, that's a really good way to put it into words. I've been feeling the same, but I don't feel like I can say that, or yeah. So it's brought some lads out of their shells that wouldn't have been able to otherwise, and giving them a space to be able to talk about the fact that it's like, oh, actually, I could probably do with getting out of this habit as well, but I feel like otherwise I'll be like kicked out of the group, or there's nothing else that we can do together, or yeah, it's nice to see evidence of someone cutting it down and still having fun, whatever it is. So it's like, actually, there's probably lads there wanting to do the same, which has been a cool thing to.
I think
to
the
see.
work that you do in you as a person, again, it comes down to, it is inspiring. You're trying to help people through your own experience, and this is why I wanted to chat to you, because it's real life. It's, you've been there, done it, gone through things. You know, you will as you get older as well. But it's so inspiring, because there might be a young boy watching going, do you know what, my sleep, or actually, as I get older, someone, you know, Tommy said this on a podcast that I listened to, that if I just cut back X, Y, and Z, I could actually live like more fulfilled, or I have more capacity for other things in life. Talk to me about like the losing people aspect, because I've been there, I'm still going through it. When you're sort of finding yourself, a bit more of a purpose to try and help, you're cutting back things, you essentially lose people, don't you? What is that void? How did you feel through that, and how are you navigating that now?
Yeah, I'm still in that void.
Yeah,
I'm in a transition phase at the moment socially, and I don't feel as socially fulfilled as I did when I was back in uni, because I've not got loads of people in my friendship group that I'm having loads of fun with and being like-minded with, because I was full of around loads of like-minded folk. It's just over time differences come, and yeah, you're not as like-minded, right? So yeah, I'm still in that void a bit, but definitely getting through it and learning about it. How to manage it? You need to try your hardest to put yourself in positions where you're going to be meeting people that may have similar interests, and knowing that it's going to be a bit of time through school and through uni. You're just put in a position where here's 100 people that you can potentially be friends with, mix, mingle every day. Okay. Adult life, we're not just plonked in a situation where we're put in front of 100 people to network with. Networking, kids.
No, you're my friend, you're my friend, you're my friend. You're like, wait, I have to actually go and find them.
So it's going to things, and like I've just moved back to London, and like I've got some great friends here who I've been friends with since I was young. But yeah, often a lot of their fun is still associated with going out late and drinking, which is great. So, but that just means that I need to find people to do stuff with through the day, and stuff to talk to about business and about finding peace and about whatever else, creative things. Okay, so all of these lovely things that I need to now talk about and surround myself with, now that my life doesn't revolve around fun. So there's loads of other things loads of other pots that I need to fill in. So it's finding people to fill those pots, right? But yeah, it's just putting yourself out there, and I'm still on the journey, but understanding that it's temporary, and that it happens to everyone who wants to make that transition, is key for making you feel less alone with it. It's a very big reason in people just staying comfortable. Is knowing that as soon as they make the leap, that they're going to have to be a bit by themselves and lose a lot of things that they've spent years building. There's an analogy that someone uses.
Oh, we love analogies.
And someone taught me this, and they did a really good job of explaining it, and I'm going to butcher it because I've not spoken about it since.
Give it a go.
We'll see what happens. Loads of people in a swimming pool, and it's full of wee, right?
Oh gosh, oh gross. Sorry. We've been there, done it.
Don't bring me into it. So there's a swimming pool, and it's full of wee, but no one in there knows it's full of wee. They're just splashing around having a good time. And someone gets out of the swimming pool and speaks to the lifeguard, and the lifeguard says, full of wee, look, you can see the colour. Like, oh God, it's a pool full of wee. But there's a cold breeze and this person's wet. And they're getting really cold and they think, oh gosh, like if I want to get back comfortable, I need to go into that pool of weight in the pool. Once you get out the pool, you question being in the pool. You're like, wow, I don't want to be in there. It's going to be a bit uncomfortable for me to dry off because it's cold, but I definitely don't want to go into that. And everyone's, oh, I'll come back in the pool, it's fun. It's like, no, like I've seen that now. I know I need to stand here and be uncomfortable for a bit. Something along those lines. I think if you probably Google piss pool, I think it's called. So a parable of piss pool.
I do not want to be in a piss pool. I want to be in a pool full of crystal clear water. And if that means drying off on my own for a little bit to find that, I will.
Well, that's it. It's like, do you want to stand on the side being a bit uncomfortable, or do you want to go back into that? It's be uncomfortable, and then you're going to be better off.
Yeah, I always think sometimes society and the world kind of keeps us comfortable so that we can almost be tailored or swayed, or I hate to use this word, but manipulated a little bit. And so when you get that strength, I just think you've got that quality massively to stand in that, questioning things, being curious about things yourself. Why are things running the way they are? Why are we doing this? And standing up from the crowd, it makes you strong. It means you can't be manipulated. It means you won't be falling into those tick boxes that everyone else is. And majority of people don't like that. When you start questioning, like say if you question or ask someone, what are your sleep habits like? What is your routine like? And if people unravel that, they might get uncomfortable with what they say, but whether they listen to you or not is up to them to stay comfortable or change something and be uncomfortable for a bit to benefit. So yeah, you've got a lot of strength to go, I'm going out of that piss pool.
I'm getting out of there.
Yeah, I'm going to stand firm and then just dry the hell off and go somewhere else.
I learned a bloke called Chris Williamson who runs a podcast called Modern Wisdom. I'm not sure if you've come across it, but I would recommend. He's an interesting guy and awesome in what he speaks about. But he speaks about the lonely chapter, he calls it, and it's the same thing. It's like you need to have that time by yourself because you are not established enough to be around the people who you aspire to be around, but you are too aspirational to be around the people who you used to be around. So you're in that middle ground between not quite being qualified for the groups that you want to be in and not benefiting at all from the old group. So yeah, there's somewhere in the middle.
What did you, from what you remember or even your own knowledge of what you've taken from it, in that phase, what can that person do? Like just keep moving forward in the direction they're going?
Yeah, you just got to back the process, and I think once you've been through it once, apparently it can happen multiple times in your life. You get to the next stage, you surround yourself with people, and then you realize that actually you want to be in a different place than those people, and you have to lonely chapter it again. Once you've seen evidence of it finishing at some point, you getting through it and it being okay, the preceding ones will get easier, but it's the first one that's going to be the hardest, which means people just suck back right into whatever friendships they were in, because that makes them more comfortable. They don't have to go through that 2-3 years of rebuilding something completely afresh and completely changing their identity.
So true. Apparently I've heard somewhere, and I could be wrong, but I've read it somewhere where it's every 29 years you go through a cycle. So often you find people who are around sort of 29, they start going through this identity crisis, start going, okay, who am I? Who do I want to be around? You can either, like you said, fall back or move forward and go through that uncomfortable phase. And then you hear people around their late 50s, early 60s who are doing the same thing, and they're like, I'm going traveling, I'm doing this because it's for me. And that's what I've heard. And I remember when I was 29 being like, what the hell is going on? Like, who am I? Everything was a massive reset. So yeah.
But knowing that, like at that time, did you know that other people had gone through similar things, and that was a thing to go through, and or did you feel alone in that and like, oh no, it's happening to me and this is why it's happening to me? It's like, no, it happens to everyone.
It's a good question, actually. Because I'm naturally curious, and I call myself a bit of a seeker. I'm always trying to meet different people through creative networking or things that I enjoy, and naturally there are people that are a bit older than me, and I really love people that are a bit older than me because they have a lot more life experience and knowledge. They've been a trend of similar things of, around this age I felt like this, you've got to find your way, you might get a little bit lonely but don't sort of settle. I think throughout my life during my lonely periods, I found people have been through it just by being out there and asking and being curious. But going through it, yes, there are massive times where I'm like, is it just me? Like, is this how it is for everyone? But I only feel it's like that if you're willing to push through and not go backwards and be comfortable. That's what I didn't want to do. I didn't want to go back. So yeah, talk me through some of the. I know you've been through a lot mentally, emotionally, and you've been really kind enough to say you want to share today. How did your sleep impact you, your mental health, emotional health? And I know it got to a point where you were actually hospitalised because of lack of sleep. Talk me through that experience for you. What happened?
So what happened that actually led me to being unwell? Okay, yeah. So we've spoken about that before. So at least just for context wise. So I guess I'll be breaking the fourth wall a little bit as well and explaining to the good people at home what happened. It was a bit of an adventure, to say the least, and a lot of positivity has come from it. But it was quite a dark time of my life, probably the most traumatic time of my life, and something that I didn't really understand could ever happen to me because of sleep deprivation. So as I touched on earlier, growing up, my sleep was absolutely terrible, and it would take me hours and hours to get to sleep quite frequently, and I'd walk around feeling like a bit of a slug. But yeah, it was the norm, and it's all I ever knew, so I didn't question it, and that's just what my perception of life was. That's how I thought I performed and how it was supposed to feel. Anyway, didn't have to question it until I got a bit of a reality check. So it was March 2021, and I was studying events management at uni, and I'd got through basically the whole year. All I had to do was run a live event. That was the module, but because it was COVID, we had to do a live streamed event, which I was a bit let down about. I was like, come on, I wanted to make something awesome happen, but I was like, right, we can still make this live stream thing awesome. Yeah. So we had the first meeting and we heard about the live stream. I felt a bit let down by that. But the other piece of information was we were going to be raising some money for a local homeless charity. I was like, bang in, let's raise as much money as we can. So our target was £100, okay? And I was like, okay, there's 6 of us. We've got like 8 weeks to do this. Not being weird, but I reckon we can raise a bit more than £100. We could probably do that in 24 hours if we put our heads together. So, call finished, and I was like putting together this master plan. Like my phone basically didn't get out of my hand for hours on end, and I was ringing whoever I thought could get involved in this live streamed event. So it was maybe musicians or actors or dancers, and it was going to be like, right, you pay X amount for your ticket, that all goes to charity, and you can enter competitions throughout. And yeah, it was going to be brilliant. But I'd worked in the entertainment industry since I was 8 years old. Yeah. So I had plenty of contacts around the country that I could ring, and it started getting legs very quickly. And I got well excited about it. And the better the idea got, the more excited I got. And the more work I had to do because the bigger the plans got. Which is all well and good. But the more I worked on it, the more busy my brain got full of ideas, the harder I found it to sleep. In fact, I just couldn't get to sleep at all for days. So, yeah, not just a couple of days. It ended up being 5 days. And on day 5, my target had gone from raising £100 to wanting to raise £66 million to eradicate homelessness across the UK. I'm not sure if we've gone into it in that much detail, actually.
I think we have to that point. But I want you guys to hear the detail.
The details are good. So by this point, I mean, day 2, I had a meeting with I should have said this in chronological order, but we'll go back to day 2. So day 2, I had a meeting with my group. I was like, look at all of these amazing things I've done. Imagine how happy this homeless charity are going to be when we rock up with a massive bag of cash and we're going to change so many lives. And they were like, Tommy, we could probably just, stick with the bare minimum. Like, we've got a lot on. Maybe we'll just, go for a pretty standard approach. So I was like, yeah, nah, get rid of the dead wood. So I rang my tutor And he was like, mate, if you don't try it, you'll never know. Like, he backed my idea, which gave me confidence, right? He's someone that I looked up to in the events industry. It's like, okay, I'll go and do it then. So from day 2 to day 5, I've been left to my own devices to work on this tirelessly, and it had escalated to wanting to raise £66 million. And I'm not being weird, I actually reckon still to this day that the strategy made a load of sense. Like, it was incredible how sleep deprivation unlocked a part of my brain that I never knew existed.
Yeah.
And what I put together in those 5 days was truly incredible. And I'm still impressed, but yeah, the likelihood of me making it come true after 5 days without sleep was
I love the cause though, for such a good cause though,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah,
it
why
wasn't
not?
just something superficial or random, it was to help homeless people.
That's it. It makes it even better.
It does.
So yeah, that was day 5. I still back it was a good idea. Definitely couldn't have done it by myself or 5 days without sleep. Day 6 is when it got a little bit tutti frutti. I'm not sure if I can say that. I can say that.
Yeah, we can.
I'm talking about my own experience. Day 6, not only was I planning to raise £66 million, but I was planning to end racism, end sexism, end wars. I had a cure for cancer in the works. There was all of these amazing things that I planned to do and had strategies for making them all happen. And not only was I delusional about what I would be able to make happen from that perspective, I didn't even know where I was.
Wow.
So by this point, I thought that I was in a television studio, but in fact, I'd been admitted to hospital. So I was in this hospital, I thought it was a television studio, all made sense to me. Like the cameras, right, that must be me getting filmed. The mirrors, oh, that must be two-way mirrors. My bed was like a crash mat, and I was like, oh, that must be for any stunts that I might do in this TV show. And what the TV show that I thought I was in was, I thought that the live streamed event that I was planning on day 1 had actually begun. And it was my job to present to the nation who were all watching at home online, to teach them all the amazing things we could do if we all worked together and we were all selfless instead of selfish. So, yeah, it was the most lovely episode ever, and full of so much positivity and fun and excitement, and that's what it was all based around. Like, come on, can we not all just be positive and optimistic and like make all this amazing stuff happen? Like, all we have to do is work together.
So simple, right?
In theory, works if everyone was just nice and actually cared, you know.
No, to anyone out there who's got a skill but not using it for the kind things, please change your mind. We could do so much good for people.
Let's restart the project. Let's get it back on.
Yeah, let's help the homeless. I'm all for it. Count me in, please.
You can do it. I feel like it wouldn't be wise for me to get cracking on it again.
Maybe we can notch it down a little bit.
Yeah, as long as I'm sleeping well. I mean, by this point, I wasn't sleeping, right? So day 6. And yeah, I then, well, I was in this mental health hospital, and I thought all the other, I had a lot of fun. It was actually like, it was the most amazing I've ever felt, ever in my life, because I thought I was making all of this stuff happen. I thought that I was changing the world, and that's got to feel wicked. Even, as exhausted as I was powering through and seemed to have more energy than I had ever had before. And I thought all of the other people who were staying in the mental health hospital were actors. So I'd speak to them like, mate, oh, come on, let's go and do this scene over here, and we can tell this story. Thought all the nurses were part of the team as well.
Ever thought of working in recruitment?
What?
Ever thought of rallying and working in recruitment? Rallying all your team members and actors.
Come on, everybody. Get involved, let's change the world. And what I was doing throughout was meaning making, which is, we'll talk more about like the science behind what was going on in my brain in a little bit maybe, but everything had meaning. So, for example, there was 3 ladies called either Catherine or Kathy. My mum's called Catherine, so I was like, oh, these are like caregivers, these are going to look after me. They know this is a stressful situation for me, so these ladies are here to embody my mum. And anyone else who had a name that I could connect with something, I was like, oh, okay, you're that person. Someone said to me at one point, if you carry on like this, you'll get an Oscar. I was like, brilliant. Okay, well, I will carry on like this, instead of seeing it as sarcasm. Adverts on the TV, I was like, oh, these have been made specifically for this show that I'm running, and these are the adverts that are on, and stuff like that. But I had loads of fun. I was singing, I was dancing, I was telling story. I was sat in the staff room one time. They let me have my guitar and all sorts in this place. I was singing different songs for the nurses. They all had their different songs, and I swear I was singing amazingly, and the words that were coming out of my mouth actually made a load of sense. It was very impressive what my brain managed to do. Anyway, so I spent this time. They were just trying to calm me down and get me to go to sleep, but I was off over yonder. I didn't need sleep anymore. I had loads of things that I needed to do. My brain definitely wouldn't shut off, but they filled me with all sorts of different medication throughout my time in the stay, to a point where at one point I was stood on top of a smoking shelter in the courtyard, 3 meters high, and this is on the evening of day 6, so my first night, and they had to call the police. So there was 6 policemen, 6 nurses, and they're all just trying to get me down without me falling off. And falling off after 6 days sleep deprivation probably wasn't the best thing that could have happened to me. Don't know what would happen. So they got me down, but anyway, from that they had authority to try and sedate me. So they injected me with a sedative, and I was reading my doctor's notes a few months ago, which was eye-opening to see the notes throughout my episode. And they sedated me, they left me, and I closed my eyes. And then it's like 15 minutes later, Tommy had got out of his room and he was doing this, that,
15 minutes?
Yeah, so I got like
you were so resistant to this sedation, like, no, sorry, carry on my ideas.
Yeah, so that was on the night of night 6, and they didn't manage to actually knock me out until day 8. So I just kept blitzing about, cartwheels, running at walls. There was this one point where the most poignant memory from an acrobatic perspective, I was doing all these stunts that I hadn't done since primary school. It was wicked. Would not recommend. Please do not try this at home.
Do not.
If you want to do gymnastics, there's places for that, okay, not a hospital. There was this lady basically barricading me into my room. She was sat at the doorway, keeping an eye on me, making sure I was okay, but trying to stop me from going out and disrupting other people's evenings.
Yeah, wow.
And what I did was I stood on my bed and did a run up on the bed, leaped over this nurse.
Of course you did.
Into a forward roll, and off I went doing more cartwheels, singing, dancing. Off I went. So that was peak of it. But yeah, it knocked me out after 8 days. I then spent 4 weeks in the highest care of mental health hospital. I'm not sure, top dollar, gold standard, right, 3-on-1 sort of care.
How long were you sedated for the second time they sedated you? How long were you
maybe 15 hours.
Okay.
So, and then but I can't remember the first week of being in hospital. I actually got moved from that place to a more serious place. From there, it was a blur for a week because I was so highly medicated.
Wow.
And then I was in the most serious one level. There was a point, maybe a week or so in, that they gave me a option to move down a level, but they did say, look, the people around you now, they're quite sedated. Down a level, it's it can get a bit aggy. People can not only be mentally unwell, but a bit more energetic and vocal about it. So yeah, I was happy staying in the chill one, to be honest. People were more significantly unwell and delusional about things, but at least I was less likely to have any hassle. It could be a bit more peaceful.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that answered what you wanted. So yeah, I spent the next 4 weeks in the mental health hospital.
So in that 4-week period, what was going on as you were sort of getting more rest, and you'd come out of the sedation, and your brain activity might have started sort of not normalizing, but getting enough clarity to sort of come back to reality. What was that like for you, those 4 weeks? Emotionally, how were you feeling? Was it scary? Was it because obviously you don't have recollection of some of it too, so I would be scared. I would be what is going on? How can I move forward from here? What were you feeling?
Yeah, different at different points. There's been a variety of emotions, so yeah, different stages. So for the first week, I can't remember it.
Yeah.
And then there was a lot of frustration, because one big thing was I wasn't allowed to smoke. I was a big smoker back in the day, and the rules were you're not allowed to smoke at the hospital. So all I want to do is have a cigarette. I've had quite a stressful time. Can I just have a cigarette? No. Well, this is really annoying. Take away the fact that I'm not allowed to leave this place. At least give me the thing that sort of gets me through my days normally. So that was really frustrating. And looking back at my notes, there's a lot of aggro that was caused from that when I was still really delusional the first week or two. There was times where I'd like protest against it, like just climb up onto the smoking shelter that used to be for people to smoke before they brought in the rules. Like just give the staff a hard time. Like, all right, I'll be a pain in the ass because you're not letting me go out for a simple cigarette. Like, come on.
It's almost like a sense of withdrawal, isn't it, a little bit? Like
a bit of withdrawal, but it's like, come on, give me some freedom. Give me like something that's like enjoyable here, because like you're telling me I can't leave this place, which was another aspect. I have experienced not being allowed to leave somewhere. I've had my free will taken away from me as an adult, which is something that not many people experience.
Yeah, I'm sorry you went through that.
Yeah,
it's inhumane,
it was weird.
Isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. I felt like it was in a cage. I couldn't leave. I didn't know what was going to happen. And like when I was still coming back to reality, I was like, what is actually going on here? So it's quite a stressful environment to be in. But it's like, unless you've got squillions of pounds, you can't afford to have your own like private little centre. Emotions wise, yeah, confusion throughout. I mean, in the hospital, I not just about recovered, but they were getting to the point where they're like, right, Tommy could probably leave in the next couple of days. We had a meeting about it. It was looking great. And then there was an incident one night where there was a stressful situation, basically, in that I was playing on the PlayStation with one of the other nurses. We were chilling, just playing a bit of Skate 3, which for those at home who played Skate 3 understand, actually, my quality of life in this place was superb.
Well looked after. Thank you.
Would not recommend again. You can play it at home. So I was playing on my skateboarding game, and this lad came in, and he thought that we were speaking about him, but we weren't. And to show his frustration, he got on the pool table and started throwing pool balls at the nurses, which was obviously like quite shocking.
Yeah.
But my survival instincts kicked in. I started chasing after this bloke. He leaped off the table, and I ended up spear tackling him to the floor because he like started hurting these nurses with throwing pool balls like he needed to stop. So I spear tackled him to the floor and got him in a headlock, and which I thought was pretty badass actually. I felt a bit like James Bond. And so that happened, and the next day I was having lunch or something, and I started meaning making again. So I was looking for meaning in things that I wouldn't do otherwise. So this psychosis was brought back and actually relapsed, and I had an episode that lasted about 24 hours where I thought I was on TV again. So that was after 2 weeks. And then from that, it was just confusion, like what is going on? What is real? What's not real? Are these nurses actually like telling me the right things, or is this all just a game? So actually coming back to reality was a process. Discomfort in there, frustration. Coming out of hospital, like when I was discharged, I'd gone from thinking that I had the confidence of changing the world to not thinking I was capable of doing anything. So one thing that my doctor said to me was that I shouldn't work too hard on things, and I shouldn't think outside the box as much. So it's like, okay, what am I going to achieve if I can't work hard and think outside of the box? It's all that I've ever known. It's like, that's how I make things happen. So I was like, right, well, I can't make anything happen. That's rubbish. How am I going to live a life that I'm actually going to achieve things that are worthwhile? Other than that, embarrassment. Like through my episode leading up to day 6, I've been posting not a lot of stuff on Facebook, but I posted like one status on Facebook, which is people will have seen as, what is wrong with Tommy? And word gets around, what small towns are like. And
Power of social media, right, as well.
Yeah, people chatting away. So I knew that people knew that I'd been unwell. Yeah, I felt embarrassed.
Did you have good friends when you came out who had an idea? Did anyone know you were going through that and were almost there when you came out to support you through that? What was that like, if you did, or if you didn't?
Yeah, it was good to have lads. There was a few lads that came and see me when I was in hospital, which was important. I think it was important for them to see me so they could understand where I was and what was going on, and then be better friends because of that, because they had better insight. It was important for me to still have lads there to socialise with. I think if they didn't know about it, because I wasn't feeling very confident at all. I was on medication at the time, which made me a lot slower, a lot less witty, a lot less positive. And my USP was being able to be quite witty and positive. So I knew that I couldn't engage in social interactions as well as I would have done in the past. So going into those social interactions, being weaker than I would have done normally, would have confused people if they didn't know. And they might have been like, oh, what's up with you, buddy? Come on. And I might have felt under pressure to have to explain myself or perform and feel uncomfortable about that, or just have to explain things. I didn't really understand what I'd gone on myself at that point. So it was nice to have the lads and try to normalise it, and for them to give me support and know that they were there if I needed them, which was great. And important for my recovery to be surrounded by people who were caring, whether it's the lads or whether it's my family or whether it was, I can't remember what they would call the lady who was assigned to me from the NHS who would meet with me. She was great.
Aww.
So yeah, with time and support, that's what helped me recover. Couldn't have done it by myself at all.
Then what did you slowly start doing to help you continue build your confidence over time?
The big thing for me is I always preach about evidence brings confidence, and that evidence can be tiny. And it's about making tiny steps forward and giving yourselves tiny bits of evidence that show you that you're capable of doing whatever the thing is that you want to be confident in doing. So whether it's, I went out driving by myself today, I can be independent, I don't have to be worried about my own mental well-being in that environment. Okay, that's a tiny step forward, a tiny little bit of evidence that gives me a tiny bit of confidence. Someone laughed at one of my jokes today. Maybe I still got a bit of wit and positivity about me. Okay, maybe I can do that. All right. I noticed this early warning sign. Okay, so I am conscious of this. I'm conscious of my own mind and when things go a bit to pot, and I can do things to change that, and I've got some techniques. Okay, so maybe I'm not completely useless. Whatever these tiny steps were at the start, and then them building up over time to a point where it got to, actually, my doctor told me I shouldn't get a full-time job for 3 years, but I got a full-time job in maybe 5 months and moved down to London by myself. And it's this is definitely against the rules. Gonna go with it, I'm worried about it, but I'm not gonna just not live my life. I feel terrible just being by myself up north. So as soon as I gave myself evidence of, I'm doing my job, I'm actually doing it well, and my workmates like me. Okay, so I must be witty and still got my social skills, and actually if I can apply myself and work hard at things without it going disastrously wrong, not done any cartwheels or anything, so we're all good. So that evidence is cool, okay, I can do that. It's right, okay, next thing you know. Masters wise, I was told that I shouldn't do my masters.
Who are these people telling you shouldn't do things? Because it just riles me up, because it's putting you in a box you don't belong in, you shouldn't be in.
Yeah, no, I do get it after reading up on reasons that people relapse.
Okay,
so the doctor's thinking, right, our job here is to stop this guy from ending up back in hospital.
Okay, fair, that's a good point.
What do we need to advise him on? Stress is something that can cause relapse, which is what happened when I had that situation with the pool balls. That extra stress activated my nervous system, and spiked my cortisol, got my dopamine going at the wrong times, and off I went. So just that stressful situation. So you can have a relapse by sleep deprivation, stress, a certain type of environment, an intense environment, and that would come with doing a master's. So I just had to, my lecturer was class. So it was the same guy who gave me the thumbs up. He probably felt bad for telling me it was a good idea.
Like, oops.
It's like, we'll help this guy. No, he was just the same. And he was like, well, we'll do it whatever time it takes you, mate. Like, let's get it done. You are so capable of doing it. You've shown yourself for the rest of the year that like you can do it. So let's just take it as slowly as you need and just ask me any questions. So yeah, I ended up graduating with that, which was wicked, because it's like, not only have I done this job that I was told that I couldn't do, I've graduated from a degree that I couldn't do. And then they said that I'd be on medication for 3 years, and I managed to get off it by a year. So as soon as that happens, like all these little bits of evidence, these checkpoints, it's like, right, I can do it. I can do it because I'm being careful about it. I know you understand the warning signs, and yeah. But I still couldn't sleep very well. It took me a while.
So then from there, when did you start noticing you were starting to sleep a little bit better, and you go, oh, actually, I'm falling asleep at a reasonable time. I'm falling asleep quicker than I used to. I'm actually getting good quality sleep. When did you start noticing your sleep quality get better?
Yeah, so I tried learning about sleep in, like, let's say the first 12 months. It would be like 18 months. First 18 months after being discharged, I tried learning about sleep, but my brain was still really mushy. Yeah. So consuming science was going to be quite hard for my sleep-deprived brain. And yeah, I didn't take it super seriously. Like, I was still going out late on the weekends, and I was still staying on my phone at night. I doing these things that you're told just aren't great for your sleep, but not really understanding why, and therefore not taking it seriously. And also just wanting to have fun and live my life. And it's all I'd ever known as well. So having a different lifestyle would have been something that I'd have to get my head around. Anyway, where I noticed a huge change was starting a running plan. So I started a running plan. I was like, right, I'm gonna have a bit of a fitness kick. And the whole thing with the running plan was that I had to be running 3 times a week. And I told myself that I had to do those runs before work. So I was getting up early 3 times a week for my runs. And on the days that I wasn't running, usually I had a run the next morning, so I wasn't staying out late. So that got me into a better routine. It also meant that I was more tired, which, like, the buildup of a chemical called adenosine, which causes sleep pressure, which means it's easier to get to sleep, and that's caused by exercise. So by doing the running itself, it meant that I drifted off easier. And the more I did running, the better I slept, and the better I slept, the more motivated I was, and yeah, the more likely I was going to stick to the running plan and start doing other things. And the better I slept, the better my brain got at consuming information, so it meant that I could learn more about sleep, and it snowballed from there. So it meant, yeah, my brain just progressively got better, my motivation increased more, and with that I got more and more evidence of doing things that was actually badass. So yeah,
it's so nice because exercise is a massive part of emotional, mental well-being. Not only physically does it do like amazing things, but it's all the stress hormones, so cortisol, it gets reduced. Melatonin, that starts to be produced a lot more when all those like adrenaline, like cortisol starts reducing, so you get good quality sleep. But then also what's it called, all the endorphins, the happy hormones, oxytocin that you start getting, again, that's good for your nervous system, isn't it? And it just calms everything. And then the point you made about stress being one of the factors for where you ended up, all of these little things that you're doing, and then sleep boundaries, going, actually no, I can't stay out because I've got to run in the morning.
Well, that's it gave me a proper excuse.
I think it's brilliant. So well done for starting running.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
It was revolutionary, really, for me to do that. And that, to be fair, I wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't stop smoking. So like that was a hassle, because like I couldn't run at all whilst I was still smoking. My lungs were like good for now. But I tried a few times to stop smoking, and then I read a book called The Easy Way by Alan Carr. Not Alan Carr, different Alan Carr. And yeah, bang that out in a week. And then from then just haven't smoked. Like I was smoking like 15 a day for like 6 or 7 years. And yeah, that enabled me to run. And I was like, wait, running isn't as hard anymore. I used to find this really hard, and actually now I can just Yeah, like the first time I ran a 5K, it was hilarious. I was aiming for a 5K in 12 weeks. I did it in my first run because like stopping smoking just allowed my lungs to actually work. So yeah, that was cool. But that was another thing of evidence, right? It's like, oh, I've actually committed to this stopping smoking, and that's evidence that I can commit to something that I once thought was hard, and that I wasn't able to do that easily. And then, right, okay, I'll do a running plan. And if I commit to that, then that's more evidence of me being able to do things, and then they progress. Yeah.
Well, I really love you've also raised a point of it's the affirmations that you tell yourself, and you've given such great examples. You know, little things like I am confident, I am capable of doing this, I am independent, and this, to you guys, the audience, this is what I talk a lot about when it comes to affirmations and tying it in with an action. So things like I am brave, like you mentioned, like, you know, you could be brave to go drive independently on your own in your car by yourself if you've never done that before. That is putting words and actions together to then make you believe or help you believe that you can do something, and it starts rewiring our brains. It's called neuroplasticity, and I talk about it a lot because I'm so passionate about it. We can at any age create new neural pathways. We can change the way we think and feel about ourselves, and you've just been an example today of you actually doing that. Those affirmations that you now just do, you pick them out, you do them, followed by an action, and it's changed the way you think and feel about yourself. And yeah, you've just highlighted it so well today. So just wanted to raise that point because I'm so passionate about affirmations.
I guess they are affirmations really, but
Yeah,
I find the evidence really helps though.
Yeah.
Like for me to fully believe something, I need to see that it's happened, and that's 100% gonna like rewire my brain. Like, and then reminding myself of those things is what helps me feel confident to give other things a go in the future. Like, oh no, wait, I am capable because I did X, Y, and Z. And that gives me confidence to go into whatever that might be. So yeah.
And like you said earlier, it doesn't have to be massive. It could be small little
Oh,
things.
tiny. Like, okay, like what do you want to be able to do? Who do you want to be able to be? Set that as the end goal. Work back until you're at a point where like that's a piece of evidence that you'd feel comfortable giving yourself. Give yourself that evidence. What's the next logical step? Carry on going. There might be one step between the two. Brilliant. That's going to be a lot quicker. If not, it's like, right, okay, I want to be a pop star. Right, what evidence do I need of being a pop star? Crikey, well I need to be able to sing first. Okay, well let's get to that point. Singing. What's the only thing? Hit a note that's right. Okay, well let's work on that. But get
those little steps, the feelings that it creates and the emotions that are, you know, predominant when you're achieving those little things is also, I think, is a part of the evidence of it working, because you start feeling differently, you start embodying that new sense of like achievement. You start, I don't know, how do you feel when you've achieved that one little like incremental step for you?
It depends how much you want to delve into my psyche here. I don't celebrate my own wins enough.
Okay.
Looking back, I can. And if I'm giving other people advice, I can. I have to remind myself of the mountain I'm standing on instead of the mountain in the distance. It's like I'm always shooting for the next thing and I forget about actually what have I built? Where have I come from? This huge mountain that I've climbed, I've already forgotten about it and I'm looking at the one across the road. So, yeah, I don't in the moment, I find it really hard to feel fulfilled, and that's something that I'm working on at the moment, is achieving something and then feeling good about it without thinking, how could have I done that better, right? Now what do I need to do next? So that's something that I hope I can sort out, but that's my current mission.
No, thank you for sharing that. I know it's not always easy to be that vulnerable to say, do you know what, a lot of us don't stop to pause and just celebrate what we've achieved so far, because I also think culturally and societally, like, we're always looking next. You know, corporate jobs, you're also like, okay, what do I need to do in the next quarter to achieve X, Y, Z? We're always goal driven, but we're never actually taught to just celebrate and feel our feelings towards what we've achieved and appreciate ourselves enough. So I really want to appreciate you. I think you've done an incredible job up to now, and I know you're going to achieve so much.
Thank you.
And I will be your biggest supporter.
Oh,
and he is witty and funny, because I'm always having a laugh with him. So yes, do not change that, because you are brilliant. And what kind of work, you're doing workshops now, aren't you? And you're kind of putting yourself out there to kind of teach and help people. What workshops are you doing? What have you got coming? And what feedback have you had from people?
What I'm doing at the moment, I have two main workshops, one that's fully sleep focused, and I speak about the fundamentals of sleep, what I believe everyone should know. I call it Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2, because until 2020, it wasn't on the school curriculum. And now it is. So I'm passionate about filling that gap of knowledge that is across 70% of the population. So just the basics, and if everyone gets the basics right, you can get 90% sleep quality, and then you can start thinking about those marginal little 1%. But most people can get great sleep just by spending an hour and a half learning about the basics. So yeah, I hammer home about the 6 sleep shapers in my sleep workshop, and then I do one called Stress Less, Sleep Better. So it's the connection of stress and sleep, and how stress impacts sleep, and how bad sleep actually increases stress, and the vicious cycle that you can get in there, and how to get out of that vicious cycle by A, improving your sleep, but B, coming up with your own stress reduction techniques and having a good wind down routine to support that.
I love it's individual, because everyone's different. So
it's hard because sleep affects different people in different ways. So actually designing these workshops, I've had to have an emphasis on making sure that people can design their own little routines from that work best for them, their situations, their body, and what their preferences are.
If I wanted a quick fire, like, Tommy, give me like 3 things that might just help me improve my sleep, and I'll give it a go. What top 3 things would you recommend to me if I was like, I only had 5 minutes to ask you that question and I had to shoot off somewhere?
Oh, so like I spoke about the 6 sleep shapers.
Yeah.
So the top 3 are routine, stress, and meal timing. No, it's not meal timing. What's my third one? I should know this, obviously, did it the other day. That's it, light. Yay. So stress, light, and routine. And
the light from our phones, what light is it, and how is it impacting our brain activity?
So phone, any bright light or blue light. So, and the only light that doesn't suppress melatonin is red light. Any other colour is going to reduce the amount of melatonin that you release on an evening. The more melatonin that you have, which is a chemical that helps you get to sleep and stay asleep, the more of that you have knocking about, the easier it is going to be to get to sleep and to stay asleep and to wake up feeling good the next day, get better quality sleep as well. So it's a powerful little hormone. So you could do with getting as much of that as possible. Any light exposure on an evening will suppress that melatonin unless it's red light. So, and it varies, okay? If you go like orange light, that's going to be, let's say, 10% reduction. Whereas if you go blue light or super bright light, then that can be up to 80%.
Wow. And it's hard in this day and age when our phones are always...
Our lives revolve around them.
Yeah, and it's hard to shut down, but it takes a lot of discipline, I say, and accountability. This is where it comes down to, it's accountability. And this is what my podcast is all about, is we can provide the tools and people's experiences and knowledge, but it really comes down to accountability. Say, I'm going to have half an hour before bed without my phone, and I'm going to make that effort to put it somewhere far away that I'm unlikely to get up and go and get it, and then start seeing the evidence of how that's benefiting you. So they're really handy tips, and I've definitely taken a lot from you for doing that too.
Yeah,
so.
the window that you'll release melatonin is about 90 minutes.
The 90 minutes.
So the more of that you can utilize, the better. So I understand, like I say, right, look, stay away from bright light and blue light within that time. Doesn't mean you have to be off your phone. You can put red light blocking or blue light blocking glasses on, which will help. They're not always 100%, they're not usually 100%, but they will help a lot more than if you were just doing it without. You can also turn your screen on to red filter, so it's only going to be red. So if you need to send emails or text people, then that can be, as long as you're not doing anything creative and needing to look at different colours, that's a way that you can still use your phone, since our lives revolve around them, for the first 60 out of those 90 minutes, and then put it away and then wind down for half an hour properly. But yeah, there are a few tips there.
It's like the physical element as well, so like the half an hour physical away from your phone, but the hormones and generating the right hormones can be before that, but you can still use it with the right filters on and stuff like that, which is cool.
But with phones, the tricky thing is, okay, for us to enter sleep, for us to actually fall asleep, our brain waves have to go from alpha waves to theta waves. Basically, our brain activity needs to slow down, which is why I ended up, staying awake for so long, because my brain was so excited that it didn't manage to go down to those theta waves. In fact, it was, probably way up the chart. To enter sleep, our brain activity needs to slow down. If you're scrolling, even if you've got a red filter on, that's going to increase your brain activity, which is going to mean that it's harder for you to get to sleep regardless of the blue light or not. So to at least give it half an hour of staying away from anything that's too engaging.
Get off your phone, guys.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky, isn't it? Because our lives revolve around it, and we've got habits around it. It's about being strict on yourself for a bit, and then it becoming easier because it's a habit that you've made to actually not have your phone. And you see it, once you give yourself clear evidence of how much better you sleep because of it, it makes it easier. So I talk about FOMO a lot, and people, fear of missing out, whatever might be on Instagram, okay? But when you experience a world where you're not going on Instagram within half an hour of going to bed, then you get fear of missing out of that world. Fear of missing out the next day, actually waking up feeling quite peaceful and well rested versus not as much. So it's giving yourself that evidence, bring you confidence in the actions of staying away from the thing. But it's tricky. But I find my job is basically sales. So I have to sell people good sleep practice. It's like, do this thing which is obviously going to make you feel uncomfortable, and you're going to think your life's going to be less enjoyable without it, for the good of sleep. And like, that's been a sales pitch.
I mean, how many times have we been like, I wish I got off my phone earlier, like now I have to get up, or I feel like sluggish, or I wish I just kind of went to bed earlier to get a bit more like z's. But it's accountability. It's really, like you say, the evidence to go, it feels good and I am functioning at a better version of myself than if I hadn't had that sleep or improved quality of sleep. So thanks to people like you that are helping people. And if you send me the details of workshops, and I would love to share it with you guys, please. I think it's so valuable what Tommy has to offer. You've been an absolute pleasure to speak today. Last question. With all the knowledge and experience that you've had and all the knowledge around sleep, what advice would you give to your younger self now?
Oh, that's a tricky one.
It's my favourite question.
Yeah, so what would I tell my younger self now? How old would I be?
Let's say about 5. When we start forming like memory, so 5.
5.
If your 5-year-old was standing right in front of you,
okay,
what would you say?
I'd explain the value of knowledge. Because that's something that I didn't take seriously growing up. I wish that I learned more general knowledge, so I understood the world better now, because it's harder to learn when you're old. But then it's easy me saying that. Would my brain have allowed me to soak up the knowledge when I wasn't sleeping well? True. So would I not have to advise myself on, actually, sleep better, buddy? Like, let's get a good wind down routine sorted, 5-year-old Tommy. You start taking this a bit more seriously, buddy. So yeah, the importance of rest, obviously, I'd be a big advocate for. I think the tipping point was me using screens before bed, because that's what I was doing from the age of 9, 10. I'd put my TV on when my mum went to bed and just sit up and try and consume as much as I could before feeling tired.
Doom scroll, right?
Yeah, the equivalent, but on the telly I was playing my PlayStation. And then as I got a bit older and had a phone that scrolling was a thing, then banging out some doom scrolling. So understanding the impact of screens would have been huge. But not only understanding that it affects my sleep, but what that does to my performance. What could I be doing otherwise? Maybe like my face wouldn't look as puffy, and like I could feel a bit more self-confident from that perspective. Maybe I have more energy to go to the gym and go out running, so I'd look better physically. Maybe I'd learn more things, and actually what could I do with that knowledge in my future, which could make my life even more amazing. So explaining that, because there's many things that I wish my younger self knew. But then in the same breath, it's like my journey has got me to where I am today.
Yeah.
if I spent more time studying through school, then my social skills wouldn't be as good, because I spent the whole time just knocking about having chats, which means that I can have this conversation here and feel confident in it. Maybe if I'd spent more time focusing on acquiring general knowledge and knowing about different prime ministers and where every country is, then I wouldn't be as confident in this conversation.
It makes you who you are, and this is why I love real people coming on to share their real experiences, because we're all different, right? If we're all the same, life would be boring. I wouldn't sit here and have learnt so much about you had you not gone through that. Obviously, the experience that you've gone through, some of it hasn't always been great, and you know, it's how you've handled it and taken control over it, and also accepted that that is part of you. Like me or leave me, you know, like, it's okay. So I think you are amazing. I think where you're headed is amazing, and I value you so much. So thank you so much for what you're doing.
Thank you for giving me a space to chat about it. It's nice to be able to articulate things, and for someone to ask questions that normally people would find were a little bit too close to is this appropriate to ask? Should I dig that deep? So it's nice to push me to figuring out actually how I feel about my own life and the world around me. So thank you for doing that, facilitating, always being so supportive as well from day dot and throughout the conversation. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Fourth Wall.
If you liked what Tommy has to say, I will post Tommy's socials on my Instagram. I'll post it in the description box. Please support and have a look at Tommy's pages, and head over to a workshop if you can. Honestly, you won't regret it. You'll come away feeling lighter, brighter, and having great quality sleep. So thanks, Tommy. Thanks, everyone.
See you later.
Bye.